Knicks and Bruises, we are back. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. I got my guy Sim in the building. We just came off the MBK show,
No doubt.
Losers Lounge, Rewind, and we back. Just touching up on this Brunson news again and figuring out how we could survive the non-Brunson minutes, non-Brunson games, what we can learn in this situation. And yeah, Sim, appreciate you jumping on with me on this early morning
Yeah. Early morning.
breakdown. Yeah, Brunson, man, we talked about it. The walking boot, the crutches. Um, I feel like we've played well in the non-Brunson minutes, relatively speaking. On the past, that being such a big issue, even early in the year when the bench didn't really find their stride yet.
Hmm.
We were still like surviving the non-Brunson minutes. But now we're talking about, you know, non-Brunson games or at least one. Two questions. How do we survive them? And well, let's start with that one. Let's start with that one. How do we survive these non-Brunson minutes slash games?
I think we survive, by playing, but we're already playing a team game, right? I think playing more of a team game, utilizing, you know, uh utilizing our offense, utilizing our players, right? Passing the ball up the floor, realizing, okay, I'm in a little bit of trouble here. Let me get the ball out of my hands. I don't got to try to beat them one on one, to get the ball up the court, things like that. You know what I mean? You're not going to replace his whatever 26, 27 points per game, with one player, or else that player would be a star, right? So you're not gonna replace that per game. So you got to do it by committee. Everybody get 2 or 3 points more. So you replace the point production. Some nights is going to be a couple of guys who just got it going, right, to help replace that point production. Um, the general, who's the general? That's kind of the question to me. Who's the general out there? I don't know. You know what I mean? And it might mean that Mike Brown is doing more play calling, right? He's barking what to do a little bit more because I don't have my leader out there on the floor. You know what I mean? So maybe he's doing a little bit more of that. And at the same time, training someone else to be that floor general. You know what I mean? And I would like to say, just Walter White said, McCallum OG replaced him last year. Um, this might be one of those times where OG steps up, right? When there's someone out, OG normally steps in and drops 35 for 5 straight games or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Those two guys do have to step up. The ball handling is still scary to me. So
You mentioned Tyler on your show as a potential starter, to keep the rotation in place. Um, we spoke about specifically Miami and Davion Mitchell kind of being a nice test for him. Tyler Kolek, Mike Brown, what do you think? Is this an opportunity for him to kind of learn what he has in Kolek? Opportunity for Kolek to kind of prove his value?
I do think it's an opportunity to really see what you have in Coley. Against a team like the Miami Heat that is going to come at you defensively, they're going to come at you aggressively. See, can he handle it? See what he really is. I'm not saying he's a starting point guard, but can he do enough you know what? I could play the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. You know what I mean? The first 5 minutes of the third quarter, couple minutes in between. I can get my 17, 18 minutes. You know what I mean? And keep the bench rotation the same. And then now you start to learn, okay, he can play against this level. The only way you're really gonna know is to put him out there against this level. I think Mike Brown kind of has a feeling about it, and that's the reason why he hasn't gotten, since he cut the lineup, hasn't gotten major minutes since he cut the lineup. He's not sure if he can, but this is his time to get the chance to do it.
The one thing that I think Kolek has in his favor is his play elevates with when he's around better players. So if you're putting him around the starters, I
Mhm.
think that actually does give him the best chance to kind of show his value, right? Because the bulk of the responsibility is less on him,
Yeah.
right? He gets a defined role on what you need to do. Protect the ball, which he's usually good at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get in the paint, which he's usually good at. Not necessarily finishing so much, but you know what I mean? Control the pace. So I think you give him small tasks, it may be a little bit easier on him. And then again, playing with better people around them should make it a easier transition.
Right.
But I think Deuce is probably the best option. Maybe elevate Mikel's role in ball handling a little bit. I love what you said about Cat on the elbow.
Hmm.
Like I think that's something that was underutilized in the past, and his attributes help him in that role. You
Right.
know what I mean? And it helps you develop some stuff that we've seen already this year with him passing from that post.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
you know,
yeah.
I don't know. I had a thought, then I lost it.
My
Well,
bad. It's not just the age, but it's also what, like two o'clock in the morning.
almost two.
Nah, I feel you.
I had a good thought too. And then
It'll come
it
back. It'll come
evaporated.
back.
It evaporated.
It happens to me all the time. Oh, they say Mitch is starting. I think this is the opportunity for him. Um, mm, how worried are you that it is more than a one game thing? Brunson's time missed.
Uh, I feel like it's going to be more than one game. And like sprains are sometimes a sprain takes longer to heal than a break.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I do think it's going to be more than just one game that he's out. Obviously, they're going to test it, and he'll probably get upgraded to like day to day or something like that. But ankle sprains. I mean, he could come back, but I'll say the pain will probably still be there.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's going to be more than two games too. I also feel like last year's injury, what they didn't give us the full scope
Mm,
for a long time, right? You know
right.
what I mean? It was listed as day to day for a lot longer than it was weeks, right? And we didn't get a timeline until weeks or at least a week had passed.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, it was a wow, right? That he was out. It,
Yeah.
and it almost felt like a surprise when he came back. Like, all right, or forced in a sense. Like we got to get him out here before the playoffs start. We got to get him some reps before the playoffs start. Because what he played three games, last 3 games.
Yep. Like yeah, like last 3 games or something. I think the Knicks were 9-6 maybe without him.
Yes, and that's exactly where I was going next. That has to be some type of a gives you some confidence, right?
Yeah, right. It's got to give you some confidence for sure. For sure.
From a coach's perspective, does Mike Brown go back and look at that stretch, knowing even though he wasn't the coach, does he pull from
Yeah.
that, or is that something only the players can pull from?
No, I think you go back and you look at it. Okay, what did they do last year? And maybe you can utilize some of that. I know a lot of people that say, "Oh, why you don't want to go back and take anything from Tibbs." Coaches take stuff from each other all the time and then implement it into their philosophy. You know what I mean? So you go back, you look at it, see what they did, see who was strong with the ball, see who was weak with the ball, see how they fared, and then make your decision from there. Now there may be players that the Knicks don't have, but we have more than enough depth. You know what I'm saying? But kind of see, all right, how did they play the game? How did they play? And then take that info and say, okay, all right, I see what they did. Now let me look at who I have and what our schemes are with Brunson, and then figure out, who can do what. But that's intel. Why wouldn't you? That's intel. You know.
Is there anything you remember that you think you learned in that situation, or with this roster construction, is there something that you would pull for?
But this roster construction, obviously, there's more talent on this team. I think it's something that has to be done by committee. So because I don't think we have just like that one, and he's been handling the ball a little bit less this year, right? Playing off the ball some. So guys are getting comfortable with it. Um, I don't think we have one guard that can just be that full time, got the ball. Brunson can do it, but Mike Brown's choosing not to do it as much. I don't know if we have another guard on this team that is that full time guy without wearing down within the game and then starting to make mistakes. So I think it's you do it by committee, and I think there's enough to do it by committee. You know, I think the ball handlers might be a little shaky, and without Brunson, I'm sure Spoelstra's like, yeah, we're gonna press their asses, see what they can do.
They go coughing out.
I'm telling you, we're gonna press their ass, see what they do.
Treat them like Brunson, right?
Exactly. Press the shit out of them. Just you know what I mean? And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some early pressure from Miami, early full court pressure from Miami. I would. I'd throw a mean press out there if I was the coach. Right from the tip. I would do that joint right from the tip. Put a little fear in them.
We saw the zone, but we don't see it enough or a lot. How much do you think? How encouraging is it that you saw it? How much do you think it will be utilized? Throughout the year or moving forward. What do you think he liked? Did you like what you saw? Do you think Mike Brown liked what he saw in it?
Um, I think maybe he did, but probably maybe seen some rotation issues, and so it's like, okay, we got to work on it some more, right? So it's like you work on it, you get to one point, you say, let's try it out, right? Okay, we did it a little bit. Here's what we saw. Let's go back. Let's work on this. Now let's try it out again. I think it's something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I told you I thought I saw it in the preseason.
Okay. I yeah, I didn't pay attention to see it, but he may have though. But
I thought I saw it briefly.
yeah, but I think that's what you do. You try it out, put it in the game. If it looks good, okay, we're gonna do some more, right? If it doesn't look as good as you want it to look, well, we need some work on it, you know, and then they work.
Um,
And they get a chance to practice.
Two more things before we get out of here. You might have touched on it, but what do you think is the biggest thing Mike Brown could learn in Brunson's absence? And then I'll get to my next one.
I think the biggest thing he can learn is who steps up as a leader, who becomes the leader out there now. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're leaderless, somebody rises up most of the time and becomes the person who, you know, leads the team kinda. So I think he'll learn in this offensive system, these defensive schemes, who's going to step up and be that leader. I'm interested to see too.
Who'd you put your money on?
Uh Josh Hart.
That's crazy.
I ain't gonna lie, Josh Hart.
That's crazy. I'm gonna tell you why it's crazy, and it's a weird. It's just the way my brain works. I'm thinking about asking you the question, and for some stupid reason, my brain goes to Ninja Turtles, right? And I'm like, um, Brunson's Leonardo, and I'm like, the next leader would probably be Raphael.
Mhm.
Josh Hart is definitely
Right,
Raphael.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean, he's the only other guy that's really vocal. I mean, some guys talk to each other. First of all, some guys don't have enough um um cachet,
Can't say I do it.
right? Some guys haven't been on the team long enough. You know what I mean? Kev says it better be Cat. I don't think Cat has that leadership in him. Um, and may not have the respect of the players in that fashion, right? So I think Josh Hart is a guy that has the respect of everybody on the team. He's not afraid to be kind of vocal, So I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you, if Brunson's not starting, if Josh Hart is out there on the floor in that group. I wouldn't be surprised. But as far as being the next leader, I could see it being Josh Hart, the guy who steps up and takes that leadership role.
Yeah,
Bridges,
he's the
maybe
biggest
Bridges a little
balance of
bit.
vocal and and,
Yeah,
and, and physical
exactly.
leadership.
Yeah. And, maybe Bridges a little bit. Um, but I don't know if he's that. I don't know if he has the same voice that Josh Hart probably has. Like
I,
Josh Hart has an outgoing personality that is going to kind of command respect from people. I'm not sure if Bridges has. OG definitely doesn't have that.
here's what I'm gonna say. And shout out to Kev. I seen his next comment. It was about OG. I don't see it anymore, but
He said, "I hope
uh,
OG turns it up in Brunson's absence." I think he
that
will.
that that
Definitely.
that that was the one. So I was gonna say OG would be he would be the guy in my opinion to step it up as far as performance, right?
Yeah.
But it would be like quiet, still quiet leadership. You know what I mean? Lead by example type leadership is
Yeah.
not going to be very vocal.
Yeah.
Mikal, I could see um being a vocal leader, and that's only because I've already seen it this year, where
Mhm.
where he calls out. Unfortunately,
I've
it's
seen it.
usually in a calling someone out for a missed defensive
Yeah.
assignment or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Um, the problem is I don't know if he always leads with performance. You know what I mean? Where now it's hard to kind of, if you're not out there balling, it's
Right.
hard for me to kind
Right.
of
Not for me to.
listen to your
Yeah.
critique type thing. The one thing about Josh Hart is, you talk about leaving it on the floor, it's visible
It's
night in and night out,
every
which
night.
makes it a lot easier to take your advice or your critique or your criticism or the leadership from that.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Even if he's not making shots, he's grabbing rebounds, he's hustling, like he's doing all of those things.
The impact is
Yeah.
felt regardless of
Regardless.
what category it comes from.
Yep.
And you know, it's hard to kind of say that from Mikal on a night that, I mean, it's been great so far this year. I feel like even though his volume may be down, or like he's probably been one of the most steady in the short stint this year, but it's never been anything over the top.
Right.
And so I think you got to be over the top or you got to be able to see it out there that, all right, this guy's leaving it out on the
Yeah,
floor,
what do you think?
sacrificing his body.
Speaking of Macau, he was asked. He was asked, was it strategy, or whatever the guy said? He was like, was it planned or not planned, for you to be taken out in the fourth quarter and only play 2 minutes in the fourth quarter? You know, he was like, I don't know. Right. That's how he answered it. He just said, I don't know. Right.
You
Do
just made
you
me remember something too.
do
Go ahead.
you take that as him just saying, ask the coach, I don't know? Or do you take that as him saying, yeah, I don't know what's going on?
The second one, um, two things. One, I think Mikal has also been the most, not outspoken, but he doesn't leave room for interpretation when he speaks to the media, and you know what I mean.
Okay.
I was surprised it hasn't even been a talking point that much. As far as like what he says,
Mhm.
you know what I mean. So but I think it was, I don't know what I don't know what happened. I don't think it was go ask the coach, but it was, you know what I mean. It was like I don't know where he was thinking type. You know what I mean. But I will say this: it made me think of. I was gonna ask you, do you think this has an effect on him? But I think this might even be something that you might see Mikal's best game next game
Okay.
based off of this. Because didn't he get sat last year in the fourth quarter, and come back and
You know,
played his best game of the year?
yeah, I think
I,
he got
I,
that after he complained a little bit about minutes.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tom Thibodeau sat him like, "Oh, you gonna play? Okay, well then don't play then. You know, you don't want to play, don't play."
And you're not giving me nothing tonight either. So
Right. You know, so yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Um, yeah, he might turn around and have one of his best games. You know what I mean? I
and
mean, the right answer, I think, should have been, I wasn't playing well. I deserve to sit. Instead of I don't know, I wasn't playing well. I deserve to sit. That's it. You know what I mean? I'd have
yeah,
sat me too.
yep. Don't leave room for interpretation.
Yeah. Exactly. 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 I'd have sat me too. Yep.
Oh, I had a Mike Brown question and I lost it. Uh, I don't think I'm gonna get it back soon.
Mm.
Anything you got before we get out of here?
Uh, um,
Oh, wait, I remember. My bad. Um, it was something I like about Mike Brown. It started like a week ago when he held himself accountable and talked about his own mistakes. Um, but even after this loss, like he don't hold his tongue about the mistakes the team makes either, right? And so he talked about the effort. He talked about it not being an excuse on the back to back because they asked him how much do you think that was part of it. And he blatantly said, that has no burdens or it shouldn't. And if it does, it's on him to maybe some guys should have played less minutes. And I should have gave some other, searched for some more answers. Gave somebody else some opportunity with fresher legs is what he said.
right.
Coming off the back to back. Maybe somebody who didn't play should have played, a couple minutes. But I just love the fact that he seemingly is not afraid to, without bashing his players, you know what I mean, or calling anybody out, you know, call out what they did wrong specifically. What was the issues? Something that we didn't necessarily get in the past. You know what I mean? But also at the same time, isn't afraid to kind of hold himself accountable. Um, what's your thoughts on that and Mike Brown as a whole so far?
So far, I think he's been great so far. I think he's gonna make mistakes. Every coach is gonna make mistakes. No one's gonna be perfect. That's just basketball, right? But I think that he's been analytical. I think he's been open to hearing suggestions from players. I think that he's been uh, holding players accountable. It seems, to their energy level. I'm not even just gonna say like level of
Hmm.
play, like shooting and stuff, but their energy level,
Hmm.
right? Their aggressiveness, how they approach the game. I think he's holding them accountable to that because you're gonna make mistakes throughout a game. That's just what it is. So I think he's been good for this team, and I think he's a relationship builder. Um, I did hear a clip from Matt Barnes, and maybe you heard it too, and I'm sure some other people in the chat have heard it, where he said he was asked about Mike Brown in New York, and he said that Mike Brown, basically, he was saying Mike Brown tries to be the player's friend, right? And it's not like
It's
vocal. It's not. He said when he was playing for him with the Lakers, Kobe or Shaq would just get up and put themselves in the game, and he wouldn't say nothing.
mm,
You and he said he thinks that there's going to be a good first year, and then there's going to be trouble the next year. That's what he basically what he was saying, and it's because of Mike Brown's, just not having backbone, kind of,
that
you know.
that hurts. That hurts because that seemingly would have helped him get the job,
Right,
right? And that seemingly would be why the previous coach is not here.
right,
As far as like someone who maybe is not gonna bend in his philosophy or thought process, you know what I mean? Or is not as willing to accept outside opinion or let outside his influences,
yeah,
and Mike Brown maybe being the opposite of that,
yeah,
and that's what the front office wanted. I mean, you know what I mean? That's they wanted a collaborator.
right. So listen to this. You should be able to hear it. This is what Matt Barnes had to say. Can you hear that?
Nah, I can't. I don't know if the chat could though.
Figured you was going to be able to hear that. Let's see. I don't know why you didn't hear that. Oh well,
Kev said no too.
Yeah, I try to get it into I'll try to download the video and get it in here so we can play it.
But
but
well, I say if Matt Barnes is right, I hope it is the best year and he accomplishes his goal.
Right. Exactly. But also, Matt Barnes played with him how long ago?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And the cachet of Shaq and Kobe is a lot different.
Yeah.
No disrespect, but honestly, of Brunson and Cat.
Right. Way different. You know what I mean? And he was younger then.
Mm-hmm.
People grow and develop. You know what I'm saying? And so you're out there and you're like, oh shit, Shaq just got up and walked up there. Am I gonna tell him to sit down? Or what am I gonna do? You know what I'm saying?
And that says more about Shaq and Kobe to me than it does about Mike Brown. Whether it's the cachet they have as who they are as stars, or just the lack of respect that they actually had for Mike Brown.
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't know if you. To me, that is a sign of disrespect. Like I don't know if you could be like you respect the coach, but you do something like that. Now you might have that rapport relationship, but it still looks funny to the non Shaq and Kobe's on the bench.
Yeah. So I was able to get the file.
Okay.
All right. Let's take a listen to this.
Work. I got one hand saying fuck no.
The one thing about Mike Brown is that first year
is always good. Mike is a great person. He's just, to me, he's not a leader of men. You have to be, I couldn't imagine it now because these kids are making so much money. You have to have the respect of them. And I think Mike is such a nice guy. That's what fucks Mike up. Mike wants to be cool with everyone instead of putting his foot down like, this is my team, this is what's going on. So that's why I feel like I've seen it. He was my coach with the Lakers. We had Mike after Phil Jackson retired. And when I tell you, rest in peace to my dog Kobe and Ron Artest, they walked all over that motherfucker. They used to sub themselves in and out of games. I'm just like, oh shit.
Hey, you was about to try it. Like, hold on, let me.
I knew better. I'm a little crazy. I'm not stupid. I'm crazy. I'm not stupid. I know I can't sub my motherfucking self in the game. And then he came to. I think he learned a lot in Golden State underneath Steve Kerr. I think Mike Brown is a great second chair. Because when you sit in that second chair, if this is the first chair, when I tell you there's such a night and day difference sitting in the head coaching chair, I think Mike is a great assistant coach. I wish him the best, but I've seen it firsthand in Sacramento. His first year came in, brought Golden State's system. They made the playoffs for the first time, and Price and Salati, you were born, and then he lost the respect of the team quickly. So now you're going to a New York media market that's trying to eat you up. Every mistake, Mike is a good guy. I just don't think the situation is going to work because he's too nice for his own good.
All right. So it was Ron Artest, not Shaq. What do you think? You're muted, Tone.
My bad. Appreciate it. All right. A lot has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He's definitely talking about a different era of basketball, right? He mentioned the money these people make. I think that's a bad reference in today's NBA. Even though, yeah, they are making a lot more money than you guys were making at the time. You know what I mean? Um, with today's salary, but I don't know if the mentality of today's player is the same as before. You know what I mean? And I don't know if Brunson in particular. Not I don't know if he would stand for that. I doubt he would do it, and I don't know if he would stand for it if it was done.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I can't see anybody on this team doing that. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
That's some John Morant.
yeah. Right. I couldn't see anyone on this team doing that. Kobe and Ron Artest, yeah, they were them type of dudes that would, I don't care about this. Just go up in there. And he was mad younger then. That was what? I don't know, 10, 15 years ago or something, whatever it was. He's, I'm sure, grown as a man since then.
Yeah, like 19 years. I think he said 2006, right?
Yeah, so I'm sure he's grown as an adult, as an individual. He's more confident in himself. You know what I'm saying? How old is Mike Brown?
50s.
I'm sure, probably in his 50s. Mike Brown was born in 1970.
Yeah,
Right,
still young.
he's 55. Right, he's 55 years old. If you're talking 20 years ago, he was 35.
Yeah,
That's a big difference.
that's a huge difference. Like, not a lot of 35-year-old coaches are gonna get respect in the league.
Yeah. Let's see what year he coached the Lakers. 2011 and 2012.
Oh, 12, okay.
That's 13 years ago. All right, so he was 40, 41, 42, or somewhere around there. Still, you know what I mean? That's in 12 years, you grow a lot. 13 years, you grow a lot. So.
I mean, this is concerning when you talk about this and you look at how the Sacramento situation ended.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go back to my previous statement. Milk the cow now, right?
Right.
If it's gonna peak early and then decline, make sure that peak is the mountaintop. You know what I mean?
Right.
How do you feel about that? Bruce Blue said, "I can't take anything he said serious."
Yeah, I think that I think he was young, and I'm 42 years old, and I got to deal with a Kobe Bryant who was probably in his mid to late 20s, who's rebellious. Ron Artest, who's rebellious. You know what I mean? And I'm maybe not even exactly sure how to deal with that right now. Because I'm learning. You know what I mean? So it's now, he also coached LeBron in the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And if that was a problem there, then maybe it got around the league at that point in time. But still, it doesn't mean he hasn't grown and become a better coach since then. So I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna bring up a video now. This doesn't look like he's a walkover. So this is him this is him with Sacramento.
I know the clip too.
Just
I mean,
Here's what I. It's hard to gauge. Listen, he did what he did. It's hard to gauge the response.
the response, yeah, and how they felt about it, because that necessarily doesn't breed respect.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that could be more like, man, F him. You know what I'm saying? I ain't doing nothing he's talking about if you're gonna speak to me like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. But that doesn't there doesn't show like
Push
they
over, walk over.
afraid or gonna get ran over. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know.
And this roster doesn't seem like
They don't
that
seem
type. That type to even like Josh Hart might be the one guy who's gonna step. He gonna see that where the limit is, right? He gonna test. He gonna, you know what I mean? Like he gonna keep putting his foot further to see how far he can go. But you know what I mean? Other than that, I can't even see anybody
right
kind of pushing the limits and seeing how far what they can get away with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Josh Hart, I wouldn't even say it would be malicious. That's just him being him. He'll probably be like, "Oh man, I was bugging yesterday. My bad, coach."
Right. And you know, the Knicks, you know, for better for worse, you know, we got a bunch of nice guys on the team. You know what I'm saying? You know, got a bunch of nice guys. If Julius Randle was on this team, you know, maybe you have something to worry about, maybe. Because you know how his mood swings can be.
And even that, I don't think he would get up and try to put himself in the game. He might take himself out the game, go sit down, and you force to,
right.
you know what I mean, put somebody in. But yeah, to put yourself in the game is crazy.
That's crazy. That's crazy, yo. That's crazy.
I know you was dealing with teenage girls, but what if
man, where the hell do you think you going? I didn't tell you to go up there. Shoot. I quick, you know, because once they walk up there, the ref they're gonna call them in. I'd have quickly call the timeout. Timeout. Shoot. That's crazy.
Oh man. All right, man. I appreciate you jumping on with me, Sim. I know it's early in the morning. I should be back on my journey on Sunday. You know what I mean? Or at least for we play Monday, right? So at least for Monday, worst case scenario.
Okay. That's what's up.
But I appreciate you holding me down in this time frame. I'll be on with you tomorrow night. You know, whether it's one or two shows, I'll be on with you. I'm probably only gonna get to watch the fourth quarter though, so I'll have you fill me in.
Okay, you know, no game tomorrow for me, so I'll be watching the whole joint, watching the whole game right in front of the two, ready to go.
But if I'm a little late, just be prepared for me to jump in around 10:30.
Yeah, all right, that works.
All right, shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate y'all for jumping in. The replay game. Until next time, your blackest time. What you saying, Sim?
Nah, I was just saying for sure. Peace.
We out of here.